Short ribs are one of the most delicious cuts of beef that you can find, if you can find it. Unfortunately, most places that serve short ribs serve it with soy. And if you don't want to be a soy sissy, or you don't want to eat something that is highly inflammatory for a lot of people, high GMO product, you don't want to eat Korean short ribs, but you can make them at home if you can buy short ribs from a local Asian grocery store, or like I did, a local farmer. So check out what we need to make some awesome short ribs at home. Would love to take a look at some short ribs. Are they cut up?
Well, I have one package of the thick cut short ribs, and then I have several packages of flanken style. This is thick.
Okay, and is that thin?
Yes.
Okay.
I have others in here.
Oh, the thin's just fine. Yeah, we'll just grab one of the thins.
All right.
I'm curious, what are you feeding these cows in the pasture?
So these are Wagyu cattle. And
Oh, wow.
we worked with a Wagyu nutritionist
Okay.
who developed a supplemental feed blend for
Okay.
us. And we ranch up in Grady, Texas, which
Okay.
is northwest of Llano, about 50 miles, so
Okay.
right in the center of the state.
Okay.
Anyway, the supplemental feed has some corn in it.
A little bit of corn?
But it also has steam flake barley,
Okay.
rice bran, and wheat bran.
Are they adding oils or any like fattening agents to the feed?
No, we do
Okay.
give them a probiotic.
Okay.
And then there's minerals in the feed blend, you
Okay.
know, just to keep them healthy.
Okay.
But where we are, grass-fed 100% is impossible.
Oh, because of the weather. So
Yeah.
what percent is corn fed? Or what percent of the diet would you say is corn?
The number one ingredient is the steam flake barley.
Okay.
I don't really know where corn falls in there.
Somewhere between 0 and 50.
Probably.
Okay.
But no, I don't think it's 50%
Okay.
by any stretch. But
Okay.
but I can tell you that every bit of beef that I bring to the market is born and raised on our ranch.
Okay.
We don't use any drugs on our animals. We do
Awesome.
not spray them for flies. The beef animals, we do use fly tags in the mom's ears.
Okay.
But the only time they leave the ranch is to go to the butcher.
All right, let's do it.
You want to try it?
Take one of those packs.
All right, so the weights are here. So this is 1.5 pounds, and then the price is written
Okay.
on.
Let's do it.
Yeah, I recommend this one.
Yeah, that one looks like good.
Okay. So marinate them in something that's really wonderful,
Yeah.
and then cook them screaming hot and
Oh, yeah.
fast. It'd be delicious.
Well, I usually get them from the Asian market, but I prefer to get
There you go.
local beef.
Let me give you my card.
Okay.
Oops.
Thank you.
Yeah. What's your YouTube channel?
It's based around cooking
Awesome.
and fitness without counting calories, just
Yeah.
selecting protein dominant food. You probably do it even if you don't realize it.
Yeah, I probably do. I do eat a lot of beef.
Yeah, that's a secret. The secret's staying young and healthy.
Well, awesome, man. Enjoy.
Thank you. First, our trusted paper towels. We always use this to dehydrate the meat so we can get a good sear. Obviously, we need some short ribs. We're gonna have some salt. We're gonna have some garlic powder. We're gonna have some onion powder, and we're gonna have some animal fat. We're not gonna marinate it traditionally the way the Koreans would. We're not gonna soak it in soy sauce. It's going to taste amazing. It's gonna make you feel amazing. Oftentimes I eat this before some of my most powerful lifts, so check it out. First, I wanna check how much moisture is coming off of this meat. You can see that we can hardly absorb all of that water, and that's exactly why we want to put it on paper towels, because water is the enemy of a good sear. If we can't get it seared, we got to make a sacrifice. Either the inside is going to be imperfect or the outside is going to be imperfect. And we want to make as few sacrifices as possible. Put more of these on. We're going to flip them. You can see how much these are stuck to the paper towels. It just shows you how moist they were. Remember, moisture is the enemy, the nemesis of a good sear. Put that salt on. Put that garlic on. We probably don't need onions on both sides. we're gonna wanna turn that grill on. Once this grill gets about 600 degrees, and we need it to be 600 degrees because of how thin these ribs are, we're gonna open it up. We're gonna put some of our animal fat on it. Now, I am using a grilling pan. So if you're gonna put it directly on the grill, you can actually lather up these short ribs with some animal fat, put it in a Ziploc bag. But if you're cooking it the easy cleanup way, the Chef Alex preferred way, this is how we're gonna do it. And then we're gonna just throw these bad boys on. 1, 2, 3, 4. I want to give these ribs a little bit of a shimmy. Ideally, you have some tongs. My tongs broke. Didn't have time to replace them at the store, so we're just going to use a spatula. Not the best, but you know what? You don't need to be fancy pants when you're cooking. All you need to do is put the cold thing on the hot thing and make sure that the outside gets cooked and the inside doesn't get cooked too much. Basically, moisture management, using the right temperature, using the right time, isn't that hard, especially when you have good intuition, and that's how I want to teach you how to meal prep or cook any delicious meal. It's kind of all the same. If you watch me enough, you'll figure it out. And right here, as you see some of the pieces bubbling up, we're going to want to make sure that as much of the surface area as possible maintains contact with the grilling pan, because that is going to make the sear good, and that's what the cicadas are cheering for in the background. How do we know when to flip the ribs if they're so thin you can't measure the temperature, or if you're like me, you don't want to measure the temperature because you think it's cheating? You got to look at the ribs, and when you see some of the moisture is coming up to the top, that's when you know that it's nice and crispy on the other side. We're going to flip all these bad boys. A little grease fire. Never hurt anybody. Probably hurt some people, but it's not going to hurt us. Woo! Look at that. Look at that. Now this is a little bit abnormal. You're seeing these sides come up, probably because these just thawed out, to be honest. I'm not a big fan of necessarily thawing meats appropriately because we don't really need to, but I'm going to grab another spatula. We're going to make sure both sides stay down. And even though the ribs curled up on the side, they're still going to be delicious. About 60 seconds on side 2. We can take them off. You see both sides are cooked plenty. Just let them sit for about 90 seconds and we're going to slice them up.